Reports have surfaced and the news is in. We now know why Lonzo Ball has in fact been injured for the last 2 seasons. According to his father, LaVar Ball, he has come out in an interview and stated that Lonzo Ball has in fact been injured because of Rudy Poo NBA workouts and raggedy shoes. In today's video, we are going to dive deep into this interview that LaVar Ball did as he talks about why both Lonzo and LaMelo have actually been injured. This is Rico Greenhowe. This is another episode of Bulls Digest. And before we jump into it, I want to let you know that 74.8% of you guys that watch the videos are not subscribers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the latest news and happenings of your Chicago Bulls. So with that being said, let's jump into it, guys. And so this article can be found on Chicago Tribune. It also can be found on Yahoo Sports. And we're going to be looking at exactly what the fans have kind of thought could possibly have led to these injuries. And you're also going to see, in fact, what LaVar Ball is saying in regards to the injuries that have occurred to both his sons. So this is what was stated in the article. LaVar has often drawn criticism for his son's injuries, with fans noting his hefty training regimens and the faulty Big Baller brand shoes, which often blew out mid-game, as potential sources for the brothers' ongoing ailments. But in LaVar's eyes, there are other sources of blame for these injuries. The reason they hurt is because they got away from me, LaVar told CBS Sports, and they start doing these Rudy Poo workouts. Because if you keep running them hills, you're going to keep that power and that strength. But you start dealing with these rubber bands and doing this lightweight stuff, of course, you're going to start breaking down. Even with the success of converting Kobe White into the starting point guard position, the Bulls played their best ball with Ball on the court, something his father never failed to miss. What Lonzo does is he makes everybody better around him, LaVar said. He's been like that all his life. So when people used to be like, oh, he's going to the Bulls, he's the fourth option, and this and that doesn't go into his head. He made Zach Lavine better. He made DeMar DeRozan better, Nikola Vucevic, everybody. And now they see when you take him out of the puzzle, look what happens. All right, guys, so it is a lot to unpack here. So, look, starting with the first part of the article, and I think people saying, just as observers, that the possible regimen and the shoes. Okay, so the regimen, I don't think that necessarily was the issue, because going into college, like, Lonzo was very healthy, okay? And so was his brother too, LaMelo as well. Like, they didn't have a whole bunch of injuries. The injuries, as I recall, started when he first got to the league. If you even look in the last game that he played at UCLA, he actually was injured in that very game against Kentucky. He actually had a hamstring injury. But to what was said in this article, he also used to wear his Big Baller shoes, all right? He made his debut in those Big Baller shoes in the Summer League, playing for the Lakers. If you go back and you look, he actually missed time in that Summer League, and he actually had to change shoes. And he also missed more time that season with foot injuries. So you could argue that perhaps the start of Lonzo's injuries could perhaps maybe have been linked to the shoes that he was wearing, okay? Since then, I haven't seen him in the Big Baller shoes out there, or at least you don't hear about Big Baller shoes anymore. So I think that that's a legit point, that you could possibly say it is the shoes that, for whatever reason, maybe they caused an imbalance there. And, you know, that could possibly lead to knee injuries down the line. I mean, who knows? Nobody knows. All right. But I could say that is an honest assessment. You can go back and look at that. Like, he did have injuries and he did have to switch out of the shoes. You know, now LaVar is attacking actually the NBA training. He's attacking the system, or whatever, you know, system that LaMelo and also too Lonzo are in at this point in time. All right. And that seems to have always been a constant, all right? Even when he was in college referring to Lonzo, LaVar had some choice words to say about the team and how they were using him and things like that. And the bottom line is this, like, Lonzo has actually become a better jump shooter. If you look at the way he shoots the ball, it's actually changed. And a lot of that has to come from the NBA training that he has had since he has actually left, possibly his father's regiment. So, his jump shooting and the way he's been able to shoot the ball has gotten better. Now, he's always had the ability to handle and things like that, but he's gotten to be a better jump shooter, and that comes from working with the training staff that, in fact, he's been with, either whether it's been with the Lakers, whether it's been with the Pelicans, or whether it's been with the Chicago Bulls. And the one thing that you can say about Lonzo is this, that absolutely every teammate that has talked about Lonzo has always talked about his work ethic and his ability to attack. And that is one thing that I could say, like, to say that, it's the workouts and the Rudy Poo workouts and stuff like that is like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like, I get it if you want him to go out there and you want him to run some hills and stuff like that. Like, I totally could see where running some hills would certainly it's going to give you some condition, certainly, to run 94 feet. I get it. And it is going to give you, the wind, to go out there and hang with NBA players. I get that. But, he's not addressing the fact of, like, the weight training that's kind of going into it. And he's talking about lightweight training and stuff like that. And it's like, you have to take it with a grain of salt because, it's not like you have to have like a heavy weightlifting regimen in order to play in the NBA. Like, not saying that they don't, but it's certain, muscles and things like that you don't need to maybe put a whole bunch of weight on. That's something that, again, I'm not a trainer. You'd have to break that down scientifically, what they're doing and things like that. So to attack like the training and stuff like that, like, I think that kind of LaVar is a little out of line with that one, man. So, in the end, with what he said and everything else, like, the shoes, okay, fine. And I can't even speak for LaMelo because he has a signature shoe. So I don't know about his shoe and how that possibly can, affect his foot. But I did see that firsthand with the Big Baller brand. But to attack the actual training in the NBA, like, that's one thing. And so I don't really agree with that. And it is interesting that in this article, what we're saying is that, yes, it's clear that we are a better team with Lonzo at full capacity, but we don't even know if we're going to get Lonzo back at a full capacity anymore. Like, we don't even know, if he's going to be as explosive as he was before. And that's one thing, too, that you got to think about as well. Like, we're talking about shoes and we're talking about weightlifting and stuff like that. What about the way that both him and LaMelo play basketball? They play with a lot of herky-jerky. It's a lot of explosion. It's above the cup with the way that they play. It's explosiveness. Like, they're not players that kind of play away from the basket like a DeMar DeRozan or something like that. So, that obviously is going to take some toll on your body as well. I mean, look at what happened to Derrick Rose, right? Like, that stuff happens generally to players, man, who play with that type of explosion at that kind of level. So, that's another thing that you have to think about as well. So, with that being said, guys, let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, is LaVar in the right? Is this just ludicrous what he is stating? Do you guys believe that perhaps, like I'm stating, that, wearing the Big Baller shoes may have taken an effect earlier, which now we're starting to see maybe these things come out now? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is Rico Greenhowe. This is another episode of Bulls Digest. And once more, guys, go Bulls. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.